Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda and the Commander-in-Chief of the Uganda People's Defense Forces.
Ladit President, Mayinbere Idoro Wimon Bitu na Uganda.
The Chief Justice of Uganda.
Ladit Maloy Lokom Chiek Tingol.
The honorable ministers who are present here.
Lieutenant Minister Irumu Mapatpat Motsikan.
The members of Parliament.
Member of Parliament Bitu.
The general officers who are here.
The
bereaved family, all the other mourners in your different capacities. My names, as you've heard, I'm General Wilson Mbadi Olara.
General Wilson Mbadi Olara.
The elders give me the name of Olara. Gangwa tie la toro Iguatapoyo.
Oe gangi tie la toro ite Guatapoyo mati Nwaya district.
Chairman Chika.
One comment, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, on behalf of Uganda People's Defense Forces and the militants of UPDF, and on my own behalf, I want to welcome you to Palaro and the rest of the mourners as we bury the remains of our fallen gallant son of Palaro, Brigadier Pierino Okoya.
Brigadier General Pierino Okoya.
The Uganda People's Defense Forces commiserate with the family of General Okoya, who was brutally killed on the 25th of January 1970. And this shown by the number of officers who have represented the UPDF. They have General Tema was only able to introduce those who come from around here. But there are so many others who, in the interest of time, I can tell them to stand up. There is Major General Masiko, the CPC. Major General Masiko, the Chief of Engineering, Brigadier Besije. Brigadier Besije, Chief of Engineering. Not the other one. Not FBC. Brigadier Rashande. Brigadier Rashande. The 4th Division Commander. 4th Division Commander. Chris Ogwal. Chris Ogwal, Brigadier Chen. Brigadier Chen is our Deputy Chief of Medical Services. Brigadier Mbusi is our Chief of Operations. Brigadier Brigadier Chimboa is our Adjutant General Headquarters, Camp Commandant. Brigadier Adjutant, Chief of the Adjutants. Brigadier Francis Kato, our Director of Brigadier Francis Kato, Career Planning. Director Planning. Bawezi Brigadier, Director Records. Director Record, Brigadier Bawezi. Brigadier Ruhesi, our Commandant. Brigadier Ruhesi. And Muhanguzi, Operation Wealth Creation. And Brigadier Muhanguzi, Operation Wealth Creation. They are Kano Otong is the Twaisi Division Commander, 1 Division. And Twaisi 1 Commander, 1 Division. Oh, there is a Deputy CPA, Brigadier Chigozi. Brigadier Chigozi, Deputy CPA, Berticha. And all the others, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, because we are burying General Okoya with military honors, my speech will be formal. And from the records of the family, Brigadier Okoya was born in 1928 in Palaro Sub-County, which is in present-day Gulu. He was active on service at the time of his death, having joined 22 years, having made a total of 22 years of active service after being... He was enlisted in the King African Rifles in 1948 and was commissioned in 1962. This is the year he was born. The circumstances surrounding his death have always been very intriguing and defining a moment in our political history. Your Excellency, the sad story is well documented and known, and has been fully retold always, and is even has been retold today. And I don't need to repeat it. Your Excellency, the UPDF therefore extends its sympathy and solidarity with the departed general's officers, family, relatives, and friends, as we re-enter his remains today, the 29th of September, we shall live to remember Brigadier Okoya for a few of these factors, among others. That he was one of the first breed of Ugandans that joined the army during the colonial period. That he had the privilege of serving in two regimes, 14 years in the pre-independence and 8 years in post-independence dispensations. And at the time of his assassination, he had achieved the trust of the state to be commander of the 2nd Infantry Brigade, Masaka, concurrently with being the Deputy Army Commander. All these at the age of 41 years by the time he died on the 25th of July. The brigadier and the circumstances of him and his wife's death therefore can be described as an instrumentalization of the track of record of our political history, which was very indiscriminate and tumultuous. And I think this is what acted as a motivation for the need then by people like Your Excellency to resolutely work for the restoration of peace and security in this country. I therefore want to thank Your Excellency to honestly, I want to take this opportunity to honestly thank you, first of all, for risking all odds, including your own life, to mobilize and turn around the political and security situation in the country.
mekelo loja ti Uganda.
Because it had reached obnoxious levels.
Uno kamo o yene dong ilwani obnoxia.
Secondly,
Me ario.
for reconstructing the national army
Wapui ma tek la di president ni ibini yeo imon me Uganda.
into an ideologically cautious and pro-people force.
We mon me Uganda do mon ma giti ginero ma bo do ma par pe lwake na machien.
That has become vanguard for the people's safety,
We dong ene oberu chalo gien ma kono lwak ka kuore pa lwak we gunong kuch.
dignity,
Ki bera konya.
humanity,
Ki bera ma chalo dana.
and well-being,
Ki dong be beru gi
where discipline is part and parcel of being UPDF.
ma bere ene woro ti gena chien ma doro wan mon me Uganda.
Discipline is now our way of life,
Woro do oberu kit yo me ko wan ma chalo UPDF.
leave alone the isolated cases of indiscipline but which we don't condone and we keep on working on them. Thirdly, Your Excellency, I thank you for directing and guiding that the UPDF embarks on preparing for a state burial for Brigadier Okoya. And to personally indicate that you would officiate at the burial. This is when you were informed by my predecessor, General David Muhozi. Some years back, when he was approached by one of the Kerikwaros in this place here, which wrote Yusuf. Your Excellency, although it has taken long due to unavoidable circumstances, we are happy to have effectively concluded Your Excellency's guidance after taking a series of preliminary activities. First of all, when we set the preparatory committee, which has today delivered the function successfully, led by General Otema Awany. When they visited this place after your instructions, they found there was nowhere to conduct this kind of and then we found other cultural issues. And so the first thing we did was to sponsor them to put between the Palaro and Lamogi Pojuan clans for cultural blood cleansing. Between the Palaro clan, where Brigadier Okoya came from, and then the suspected killer, Lieutenant Raymond Oriem, who is said to have come from the Lamogi Pujwani. And because we found that there was no house for the family, sir, for compassionate reasons, we've put a family house, solar powered and connected by water, which is got from the ground. We have an external toilet And we have put some 2 other taps which the village around can pick water from. All this done by our engineers brigade at a very cost-effective price. Just 200 million shillings only. If you had given somebody a contract, I am told it would have taken some not less than 350 million. The second thing, third thing was to construct the graves. We also are responsible for organizing this reception you are seeing here. But we were helped by the indigenous people here who gave us 10 cows also, commonly called the Balaru, but who have integrated within the family here. And today, sir, we are burying our gallant son with the military honors of an 11 guns. At the rank of a brigadier, he is entitled to an 11-gun salute. So for those who have had problems when we hear things blow, don't think LRA has come back. We also conducted talk shows in relation to the ideological refocus. This was done by the CPC, the Chief of Civil Military Corporation, and the defense spokesperson. From what I hear, the population is really very, very happy. I therefore want to take this opportunity once again to thank the preparatory committee chaired by Lieutenant General Otema for the tremendous work done. I also want to thank the people of Palaro, the people of Gulu, and generally the people of northern Uganda, and everybody who has come to witness this burial, for the support you have rendered to us in honoring our gallant son to ensure a befitting resting place. During my secondary school days, I remember there was a Christian religious education studies textbook, The Christian Living Today, where there was a famous statement that the dead are not dead. Therefore, to us in the military and any other civilized society, we remember the dead for so many reasons. As doing so unearths lessons from their lives to guide us in the present. Before you came, the bishop mentioned this. And as such, remembering the departed is our venerable tradition as Africans. And it is important because we remember the dead to mourn them. By the way, mourning is also biblical. Because Abraham mourned the loss of his wife Sarah. This is in Genesis chapter 23 verse 2. Jacob mourned Joseph. because he was the favored son that he thought he had lost. We also remember the dead to honor them, like we are honoring our gallant son here. We remember the dead to know our story and history. Because people who don't know their history, they are a lost community. We remember the dead to gain wisdom. This is wisdom from their own actions or even from their lives they led and how they died. And how they died. You've heard all the good things that they talked about late Brigadier Okoya. We remember the dead to avoid the mistakes. And we remember the dead to seek justice. Sometimes we need to remember the dead because of the injustice committed against them and the lingering effects on those of us still living. I remember one of the letters coming to my office from, I think, the Kerikwaro or something like that, when he was saying that the spirits of these dead people are not stable. Because we have not done the matoputu. And that is because of the way that they were brutally killed. Now, and because vengeance is not ours, according to Deuteronomy, it is our responsibility to act justly. And that is the reason why we sponsored the Matoputu. Your Excellency, before I conclude, let me state that Brigadier Okoya was a citizen whose input made the nation reach and cross a critical threshold. Of transitioning from the colonial administration to independence, and we think that had he lived, continued to live, he would now probably be a repository for our military history. Also, we realize that centuries have given many men the measure up to standard of greatness. He has given us many men worth of a place in the temple of fame. Many men of valor, many of brilliant attainments, and many of splendid virtues. Brigadier Okoya was one of the few among such people. And that's why I think Your Excellency accepted that we honor him with full. That we honor him with full military honors during his burial. The African wisdom cautions
Wanu ton wa waju kin manni.
that we live this life on the basis of legacies.
Ni ko ma wa beri ye eniba. Uchung gin mano udo ingewa nyoje mabede magitiyu.
Because life is the beginning of death.
Tien ko ya chek ko ayero ngachek metoni.
And since no one will ever live forever,
Donc bien petit ngar mo ba bi ber tar gi
then each one of us should leave a legacy.
donc we wan tu mo wati lobo miro wek nying mabe.
Put a stamp on the present
Ket stamp mamiri ikuni mekarne.
in order to make a contribution to the future generations.
We ko tien wa ma dir ma wa binwalo. Gunong riao ki kom dir mabejo stamp ini kere lobo kan.
And I think Brigadier Okoya did that.
Atamu ni man Brigade Okoya tim kakare.
To the family, finally,
Donc ma gitene bot won otto.
and all the mourners gathered here, Romans chapter 8, verse 38 and 39 tells us that nothing can separate us from the love of our God, and that when we are faced with calamity or even death, it is far from the thought that God has abandoned us. So, the bereaved family, we continue to pray for you, that God continues to comfort you, because blessed are those who mourn, for the Lord will comfort them. May the Lord God Almighty bestow the late Brigadier and Mrs. Okoya with all the full grace that abounds in his realm. May their soul rest in eternal peace. For God and my country.